Hello, I'd like to thank everyone for coming today to hear me give my speech. I'm going to be talking on the export of gasoline out of the United States. The purpose of this speech is to inform you about the main factor that is creating an artificial shortage of gasoline here in the United States. When I'm done, I hope that you're as mad as I am about this, and I hope to evoke an atmosphere that will cause you to take an action to help to lower our cost of gasoline at the pump. Do you ever wonder why you are paying over $3 a gallon for gas? Well, give me a few minutes of your time and I'll give you an answer to that question. I'm going to present some amazing statistics provided by the Wall Street Journal and the U.S. Energy Information Administration pertaining to the production of refined oil-based products here in the United States, which in 2011 and the first half of 2012 had reached its highest point of production in the last 15 years. I will also inform you as to what amount of refined oil is used in America to operate our vehicles for transportation purposes. I'm also going to inform you that according to the International Energy Agency and Bloomberg Business Week, where most of the gasoline produced in the United States goes after it leaves the refineries, and why the big oil companies send it there. Another item that is going to be covered in my speech is that if nothing is done to change this pilfering of refined products in the United States, the fact that we will be producing more oil than most other developed countries in the world, the financial impact will be higher gasoline prices for us here in America. First, I want to discuss the current oil production numbers in the United States. According to the Wall Street Journal article dated December the 4th, 2012, written by Tanil Tracy, U.S. oil production hit a 15-year high in September of this year, producing nearly 6.5 million barrels of oil a day. Last month, November 12, the International Energy Agency put out a report, IEA World Energy Outlook 2012, and reported that within 8 years, the U.S. could become the largest oil producer in the world. With all this oil that is being produced, and that will be produced in the U.S., we should have $1 a gallon gasoline within a few years. And our industry should be booming with the low cost of operational fuels it needs to run the machinery. But that's not going to happen. Why? Export, that's why. According to an article written by Christopher R. Niddle for the Journal of Economic Perspective, in the United States, gasoline and diesel fuel account for 60% of oil consumption in the U.S. Yet the main players in the oil industry in the U.S. have found they make more money exporting the finished gasoline out of the U.S. to Central and South America than they would make by leaving the gas in the U.S. Now I have a chart here I'm going to show you as far as the amount of export. All this along here is Mexico. There's Mexico. All this is Mexico. What's exported to Mexico. All the color here is going to Central and South America. Notice the spike between January of 2010 and this is May of 2012. Here's January 2012. Look at the hike in January of 2012. Due to the amount that the producers are exporting out of the U.S., they are creating an artificial scarcity here in America, which keeps U.S. fuel prices high. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, the export of gas in 1980 was nearly zero. But from my personal experience, I know that the price of gas in 1980 was 96 cents a gallon, and that our economy was in a recession as it is today. This is 1980, right here, almost dead center. Flat. That was a recession period. Here is today. Look at this. There's 2010 to 2012 right over here. Amount of gasoline exported. In September of 2012, the export of finished gas products was 397,000 barrels a day out of the U.S., with most of the gas going to Central and South America. Big oil companies claim that there is low consumption of fuels here in the U.S., which requires them to export the refined products to keep their profits at an acceptable level. According to Bloomberg Businessweek, an article written 8/1 of 2012, the U.S. consumption for gas is at the same levels as it was in 2001. Why is it at the same levels as 2001? The reason for this is since our economy is in the basement, people don't need gas to drive to jobs they don't have. Nor do they have the money to take vacations, which requires the buying of gasoline. Now, what would it take to get the U.S. consumption of gasoline to higher levels that would then result in lower exports of gasoline? It's a simple matter of mathematics. If the oil producers in the United States would slow the export of needed fuels out of America and keep it here, selling at a lower price, it would create a financial atmosphere for industry to operate with lower costs, which would then put more people back to work. It would then create a demand for gasoline in the United States, which would then lower costs for gasoline for the American consumer at the pump. But until the oil corporations of America set corporate greed off to the side and show a little patriotism by helping get America back on its financial feet by offering lower operating costs to the industries of America, we will continue to have overly inflated gasoline and other petroleum products here in the United States. My opinion is that if the oil industry would lower their prices for just 2 years, then the economy would pick up, and they would recapture any losses that they had incurred during this period. The oil industry would still be making money all during this period, so don't think they're going to go broke. The millions they make daily would only show a small decrease during this period. What can we, the small working class of society that is engulfed in a society of huge oil corporations, do to possibly get this corporate greed turned around? My advice is this. We can contact our congressional representatives and let them know how discontent we are with the control the oil corporations have on us. We can also demand that Congress enacts an export tax on all finished petroleum products leaving this country. With an export tax on the finished products, the countries buying this product will slow the purchases, which will increase our supply levels here at home, which should lower the prices and get our industries going again. In conclusion, I once again would like to elaborate as to what I have just discussed with you. First discussed was the United States has hit a 15-year high in oil production, and yet our fuel costs have steadily gone up. I have also explained why our cost of much needed fuel is going to steadily continue to go up. Export, unless something drastic is done soon to reverse this business trend in the oil industry. I gave my own personal opinion as to why our consumption of gas is at the same level as 2001. People out of work don't need gas to go to jobs they don't have. I discussed what the outcome would be if the oil industry was to slow exports out of the United States. It would create an excess of much needed fuels here in the U.S., creating lower costs to industries, which then would get the American industries going again, which would then get people back to work. This brings me to the last thing I discussed today, what we as American taxpayers can do to help change this greedy business trend in the American oil industries. Contact our local congressional representatives and tell them how discontent we are with the entire situation. I hope now that after listening to my speech, you will be as mad about the way we in America are getting ripped off at the pumps as I am. And you will take an active role by contacting your local congressional representatives to correct what is about to become a long-term financial aspect of American life. Remember, Congress works for us. We don't work for them. Thank you.